Sayın Bakanım,
Mr. Minister, distinguished guests, distinguished members of the press, on the 11th and 12th of February, namely yesterday and today, we've had the kick-off meeting between the incoming COP31 presidency and the UNFCCC Secretariat in preparation to COP31 that will be hosted in Antalya in November, and we are at full speed with our preparations.
distinguished ladies and
Now
gentlemen,
we have an introductory video that will take us to COP31. Enjoy.
A single drop falls from the sky. A drop becomes life and blossoms into green. Climates are born from those drops, flowing through is taking action not only for itself, but for continents and generations alike. Nature gives back only what it has taken. In dried up rivers, in swelling floods, it asks us to account for all we have lost. Turkey responds to this question with a clear and resolute commitment. Launched under the leadership of First Lady Emine Erdoğan, the Zero Waste Initiative has, since 2017, enabled the recovery of 74.5 million tons of waste and prevented the loss of 553 million trees. Through the nationwide implementation of the deposit management system by 2026, Turkey's climate action journey began in 2004 with the signing of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This commitment gained renewed momentum in 2021 when President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan announced Turkey's 2053 net zero emissions target at the global level. Over the past 2 years, sustained diplomatic engagement and intensive consultations for COP31 culminated in 5 days of negotiations in Brazil, resulting in Turkey's successful bid to host COP31. With this vision, Turkey is hosting COP31. This presidency is a meeting point for climate justice, a global call for collective solutions. Antalya, an inspiring beacon for the green transition. Embracing the zero waste approach with electric mobility, strong accommodation capacity, and its strategic location, Antalya is hosting a low-carbon global gathering. From Expo 2016 to NATO summits, Antalya's global experience makes it a strong host for COP31. Here's what we hold to be true. Great crisis can only be overcome through shared wisdom and joint steps. To think together, speak together, and act together. Let us meet in a shared promise.
evet, hepimiz için COP31.
Yes, COP31 for everyone. Now I will be giving the floor to the Minister of Energy and Climate Change from Australia, Mr. Chris Bowen, a video message.
Parliament is sitting this week. But it was also important to take some time these last 2 days to meet with the Turkish, Brazilian and Azerbaijani presidencies, as well as the UNFCCC Secretariat, to discuss and collaborate on our approach for the most important year ahead. In recent weeks, my team and I met regularly with my friend Minister Krum, his team, as well as the Pacific leaders, to ensure that we're working closely together to harness the opportunities of this COP, to ensure that negotiations and action agenda are working hand in hand to deliver climate action and economic development for all parties. Our partnership with Turkey, as well as with the Pacific Island neighbours, is a unique and innovative model that affirms our belief in the power of the multilateral system and momentum on global climate action from the Mediterranean to the Pacific and beyond. I'm confident that our COP will serve as a bridge between developed and developing countries to deliver the COP the world needs in this, the decisive decade for climate action. More than a decade on from the Paris Agreement, we've seen progress. Together, we've brought the projected global emissions down from 4 degrees of warming, with national pledges now expected to put us on track for 2.5 degrees. This is progress. Where we can act together, we can achieve together. But while we've come far, there is much, much more work to do. Not just to strengthen our economies and safeguard our environment, but to protect climate vulnerable nations like our friends and neighbours in the Pacific, where climate change represents the greatest threat to the livelihoods and security and well-being of their people. No one nation can tackle climate change alone, nor does any one nation have solutions for all the world. We can all learn from each other. Working together, Australia, the Pacific and Turkey will deliver real progress for global climate action through COP31 in Turkey and pre-COP in the Pacific. We can't wait to see you there.
Thank you to Minister Bowen. Ladies and gentlemen, yapmak üzere.
Now, to deliver his speech, I would like to invite His Excellencies Murat Kurum, COP31 President-designate, and the Minister of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change,
President Andre Aranja Correa de Lago, for some remarks. Sayın Bakanım, gentlemen.
As Turkey, we have entered a brand new era of historically and strategically important for Turkey and for the world, an era that will enrich everything from diplomacy to economics, from environment to urbanization, and climate will be redefined. The signal flare for this new era is the COP meetings, the highest level global climate conference which has the power to bring world leaders together around a single table. These conferences of parties are very critical and valuable because our world is experiencing the devastating effects of the climate crisis more severely every day. Moreover, climate change is not just an environmental crisis. It has become it's a matter of survival. In this exact period of crisis that the world is experiencing, Turkey, with its vast historical experience, concrete steps that she has taken regarding the climate crisis, and with its belief in global justice, Turkey will host COP31 in Antalya. Indeed, for the past 3 months, we have been working really hard to ensure the successful conclusion of COP31. On one hand, we have conducted work in the earthquake zone, and we have exerted great efforts for COP31 that will take place between November 9th and 20th in Antalya. In this context, yesterday and today in Istanbul, right here, we have successfully completed our very first kick-off meeting with the high-level participants from UNFCCC Secretariat, Australia, Azerbaijan, and Brazil. We worked in detail on every area, from climate events in 2026 to the COP31 presidency vision, from determining our action agenda to the official decisions to be taken at COP31. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my dear friend, Mr. Simon Steele, the Executive Secretary of the UNFCCC, and of course to my distinguished Australian counterpart, His Excellency Chris Bowen, who could not be here physically, but he was very well represented by his deputies and members of his distinguished delegation for their support. I also would like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Muhtar Babayev, the president of COP29, and his dignitaries, the whole Azerbaijan team, Yalchin also, and also I'd like to extend my gratitude to dear Andre and the whole Brazilian team, the whole presidency of COP30 for their participation and contributions, and also, of course, to the members of the Secretariat, for everyone who have worked relentlessly in the last 2 days. As the COP31 presidency, of course, we embrace this legacy, and we aim to conduct COP31 process with a results-oriented approach. To ensure the success of COP31, we embrace this process, and we will be, as I said, results-oriented in this approach for a successful COP31. We really want COP31 to be successful, and to that end, as Turkey and Australia, we will work together based on consultation and cooperation as a single voice, as a single body. We are well aware that the world has high expectations from COP31. We have this awareness as a team, and our responsibility is to correctly interpret these expectations, build trust among the parties, and generate results, get concrete results. We always say this. We do not see COP31 as merely a conference, and neither should anyone else. Turkey's approach to COP31 is crystal clear. Dialogue, not a single voice. Consensus, not division. And action, not inertia. We will choose action to get results. Acting on these principles, we will announce our strong and robust action agenda to the world in March. And we have been having these discussions today to that end altogether. So this will lead us to our announcement for the rest of the world in March, without leaving anyone behind, and with an impartial and fair presidency. We will hear, amplify, and encourage everyone's voice, as we indicated since day one. Regression in global climate action is unacceptable. We will make it clear to everyone in the most explicit terms that the flexibility in implementation and tolerance for the transition period, which is granted equally to all countries, is now at zero. This was indicated by the distinguished members of the delegations as well, and we will be explicit and open in our language to tell this to the rest of the world. This approach is not merely a technical negotiation framework. It actually represents a sense of responsibility that reminds us of the humanity's ancient relationship with nature, and it's nourished by the shared memory of civilizations. And one of our starting points is Göbekli Tepe, which is considered to be the 0 point of human history, because Göbekli Tepe is the place where humanity came together for the first time and met around a common meaning. In this respect, we define COP31 as the COP of the future, where humanity comes together again. Our principles, yes, dialogue first. It's the starting point of the COP31 process. In this framework, COP31 will create an inclusive consultation platform where governments, the private sector, cities, youth, and civil society are meaningfully listened to, and different responsibilities are accepted. The second principle, consensus. Consensus is the second stage to be built on in this dialogue platform, one of the very important aspects. COP31 will focus on realistic commitments that strike a balance between ambition and feasibility, equity and responsibility, and it will take into account the development development of the priorities of the countries. And finally, action. Action is the ultimate goal of this process. COP31 will put commitments so far into real actions from now on. Investment, policy alignment, and concrete implementations supported by public and private sector collaborations will be prioritized. With these three principles, we will move COP31 beyond a rhetoric-heavy negotiation process. We will demonstrate a presidency approach that builds trust, that is results-oriented, and that prioritizes implementation in the real sectors at all stages of this process. We will maintain this stance altogether from now on. We will maintain our decisive determination and commitment to making the 1.5-degree target achievable. We will respect the development priorities of the countries. We will openly accept the necessary support mechanisms. I also would like to highlight that we will be open in this regard. Of course, as we move toward in this journey, on this path, the issue of financing is of great importance in terms of advancing implementation. Similarly, local governments, the private sector, financial institutions, and the civil society organizations should continue to be the key actors in this process. In the COP31 process, we will support the active participation of civil society in this process, and we will do everything necessary to strengthen multi-stakeholder cooperation. We will work together with all the civil society organizations, the representatives of the private sector. We will lend an ear to everyone and leave no one behind. This will be the stance, the perspective that we will reflect on COP31 process. Distinguished members of the press, the most important meeting or aspect of this process will undoubtedly be the World Leaders Summit. We will hold the Leaders Summit in Antalya over 2 days under the auspices and hosting of our President, His Excellencies Recep Tayyip Erdogan. On the first day of the Leaders Summit, general high-level sessions will be held with the participation of heads of states and heads of governments, and strategic leadership messages will be conveyed. And on the second day of the Leaders Summit, partnerships will be developed through implementation-oriented roundtable meetings. It is important to emphasize here, as boldly as ever, that the leadership of our president represents the understanding of diplomacy that is deeply rooted in Turkey's foreign policy. An understanding that can speak, listen, strike a balance, and focus on producing results. This very approach will also play a strong political role in climate diplomacy, bringing parties together around the same table, building trust and making consensus possible. On the other hand, the action dimension of COP31 is particularly strengthened by a value-based approach. The Zero Waste Initiative, spearheaded by Her Excellencies Emine Erdogan, has shown the whole world that climate action cannot remain only at the rhetoric level, but can actually be transformed into a results-oriented framework. The urgency of the climate crisis we face today clearly demonstrates that multilateralism at all levels, despite all challenges, is the only legitimate and effective foundation that can safeguard the common future of humanity. As the COP31 presidency, we are determined to rebuild trust in multilateralism with a strong vision focused on producing results, because we know that Turkey, the host country of COP31, has for centuries always stood on the side of the good against evil, the law against injustice, and the beauty against the ugly and the wicked. In this period, when climate change is ravaging the entire world, we stand by humanity. Let's not forget, there is only one prescription that has reached us from the ancient world: to live in harmony with nature, because the earth is our common home and we have no other place to go to, no other home, no other refuge to seek. With this mindset, we say that Turkey is the natural center of the fight against the global climate crisis. Our country will be the bridge, bringing together the north and the south, the east and the west, the developed economies and the developing societies. Furthermore, Turkey is a country that has taken on the leadership on global climate justice and has proven and earned this claim by standing on the right side of the humanity in all critical periods of history. It is a country that sees climate justice as the most strategic gain on the path to a world where global justice is achieved. And yes, the future will be shaped right here in Anatolia. The roadmap to a livable future for all of humanity will be presented from here. We cannot stand still because those beautiful people on the Pacific Islands, which are under the danger of being submerged, are waiting for us, calling on us. People who cannot access water, who cannot reach food, millions who have left their homes due to disasters are waiting for us. In short, humanity is waiting for humanity. With all these feelings in my heart, I wholeheartedly would like to highlight that we had fruitful meetings for the past 2 days. We have discussed so many subject matters at length in detail, and for that I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to my dear friends, to the UNFCCC Secretariat, to Australia, that we will march together in this journey for COP31 and the COP29 and COP30 presidencies, Azerbaijan and Brazil. Distinguished dignitaries, august body, I greet you all with utmost respect once again.